What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Metal Maniacs Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Ingersoll, and I'm here with my co-host.
It's your boy, Mod.
What's up, Mod?
Hey, yo, Jay. Thanks for having me over again.
Of course.
Good morning.
Every Sunday.
Yes.
So today we are joined by Dawn of Agony from West Michigan, I guess you could say. We'll learn a little bit more about that. So before we get going, can you just introduce yourselves, what you do in the band, so people can get familiar with your voice, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. So I'm Blayne. I play guitar in Dawn of Agony, one of the founding guys in the band.
And my name's Sam. I do vocals.
Hell yeah. Cool.
Welcome.
So first things first, just so you guys know, when I started this podcast, I made a list of bands that I wanted on the show, and you guys were one of them. And the reason why is I went to the Bleeding Through 20th anniversary show at the Crowfoot.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And I
Sick show.
got to see you guys play. So I thought it was super cool because I feel like you guys are a good representation of like some old school death metal.
Yeah. Thanks.
And I don't want to get ahead of myself and like pigeonhole you guys into something, but like I was like, man, these guys are kind of remind me of the stuff that I listened to kind of growing up, like kind of kept it that way. You guys do have some new school infusion too, with like some slam parts and some groove parts, but to me it was like this real cool, nice infusion of that. But when I got to see you guys play, and I was like, these guys are awesome. I want to get a hold of them. So just so you know, when I started this, you guys were first on my list, like one of the first bands, because I wanted to talk to you guys.
Means a lot.
So.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man, that's great.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys coming out.
Yeah, man.
You
thanks
guys
for
were
having
fucking
us.
cool when I seen you. It was interesting because your drummer does some vocals too, right?
Yeah.
So I was like,
He
that's
did
kind of
some
cool.
backing vocals.
Yeah. And he sounded like he was like a real old school dude, like just by looking at him and watching him and everything he did, you know.
Yeah, dude,
so,
Vinny's the shit, man. Great drummer.
So you guys kind of remind me of, we had a show or a band on the show called the Black Temple. Are you guys familiar with them?
Yeah,
so Eric's one of our good friends. We've gone way back with them, played with their old band Theocracide so many times and everything.
Nice.
Just hung out with him at the Pyramid Scheme as well. So you guys kind of fit in that vein to me, where it's just kind of like that just real gritty, cool death metal and some of the old school stuff. So before we kind of start diving into you guys' music or whatever, you want to just tell me a little bit about, we were talking a little bit before the show, the inception of the band, how it kind of got started and kind of the evolution.
Yeah, so DOA started, it was me, Vinny, our drummer, and then another guy, a friend of ours. So we were living in Kentwood at the time, and so his name's Matt, still a good friend of ours. Him and I had this idea about doing a death metal band. So throughout, me going to shows, me involved in music, I've always been a hardcore kid, and I fucking love hardcore, always will.
Nice.
But as as you get older and your music palette starts to kind of expand a little bit more on the, open-minded stuff, I was like, dude, let's do a death metal band, And when we had this idea about doing a death metal band, it's like, hey, there's all these other bands that are coming up right now, like, Frozen Soul, Bog,
love me for
and I love those bands. So I was like, but I want to do like a mix between kind of what you said, which I appreciate you kind of acknowledge that with the mix between the new and the old is like one of my favorite bands, like Dying Fetus. I love Internal Bleeding, Suffocation, like all like the heavy shit. But what I wanted to do was let's take parts of those songs that we love and let's kind of condense them, and let's make it like, instead of it being, a 5-minute long, song, let's kind of condense these songs and make them like, let's put the cool shit that we like in this, in these songs. And then, so we started jamming late 2020. We were like a COVID band.
Okay.
And we wrote the demo out. And then early 2021, I want to say maybe around February, March, we went into our friend Jeremy's like home studio that he had. It was just like, plug-in stuff, electric kit. And we just put the demo together, and we had it out like the next couple of weeks. And so, ever since then, we've just kept, just writing new shit, stuff like that. We played our first show summer 2021. And then eventually we kind of started doing other things with the band. And then, Sam ended up joining, 2023? 2022, yeah. So we've gone through a couple different member changes, but now we're like, I feel like, in my opinion, like our most like cohesive and best put together, like, group of guys.
Okay.
So
Nick had brought this up because we were talking a little bit before the show.
Yeah.
You guys had like a bass player singer previously?
Is
Before you got in the band?
So Matt, when Matt was in the band originally, Matt did bass, and he played bass and did vocals. and then just did vocals, and then he moved over to guitar, and that's when I came in and I started doing vocals.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
so-
it was a
and
little.
then we had a couple different bass players in between.
Yeah.
Like when you saw us, that would have been my buddy Doug, who played with us, and that was like the only show that he played.
Oh, okay.
Came in, he rocked out like
yeah.
3 practices with us, learned all of our stuff, helped
Mhm.
us out, played that set. It was awesome.
Oh, nice.
And I've been playing shows with him since I was in like the 10th grade. We were in a metalcore band at high school together. So that was like a big thing. We played all around Grand Rapids and stuff too. So it was fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, shout out to bassist vocalists out there.
Oh yeah. Dude, that's
We're a rare breed.
yeah, dude, that shit ain't easy. I don't know how Ryan Wallace does that. Shout out to him.
Okay, so kind of got a little inception of the band. So the self-titled demo came out in
Mhm.
April 2021.
Yep.
The drums and the vocals sound really freaking good on that demo.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They just
Jerry
stick
did a
out
great
really,
job.
really
Yeah.
well. And sometimes the drums are hard to capture.
Yeah,
like,
it's
you know.
it's crazy because Vinny tracked his drums on electric kit,
Okay.
and Jeremy was like, yeah, like which was really cool about this. He was like, yeah, you guys can just pay me a White Claw. You guys don't, because he was like, I don't really have a lot of experience with recording other than like
Oh.
my own like demoed out stuff. So he was like, you guys just come in and just if you guys like what I do, then let's do it. And so he sent us the stuff back. Like, dude, this shit sounds sweet.
Nice.
It sounded really good, especially for calling it a demo. So that's a
Yeah.
nice little demo to have.
Thanks, yeah.
A lot of times you get the word demo, and I'm immediately like scared to listen to shit because I don't know what kind of static noise I'm going to get. But it sounded really good, especially
Yeah.
for a demo.
Thanks.
So the song "True Through Deicide." So there's a flanger on that kind of came out, and to me it reminded me, one of our favorite bands is Death. I mean, that's the
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
we grew up on
Yeah.
was Death, Carcass at the Gates, those kind of things.
Mhm.
And back then, like in that Scott Burns Morris
Mhm.
Sound Studios era, there was a lot of flanger that was
Yeah.
used in Morbid Angel and stuff, and that was
That's
kind of a
exactly
throwback
where I got
to
that
me.
from too. Was with Morbid Angel and Trey using that and stuff like that. I was like, I tried doing that live once using a flange, and it just sounded like shit. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do this. But I'm glad that it worked well on record or
Okay.
on live
Yeah.
recording.
So is that why you got away from it when you guys redid it?
Yeah, a little bit that, and when we record, I really like to capture like how we sound live as well. So it's just like little things. So if I'm not gonna like use like for a minute, I was using an HM2 and I got rid of it, and then I was like, well, I don't want to like track it while using one if I'm not gonna use it anymore, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
right.
So and
There you go.
then I don't know.
I feel like they're kind of hairy live too. Like they're gonna maybe
Yeah.
just be a feedback
Yeah.
problem. Like if you don't get a chance to sound check it properly, or a sound guy who's not
Mhm.
used to having a flanger, because that kind of goes back to like late 80s, early 90s. So
Yeah.
they're not as prevalent these days. But yeah, if you're not gonna use it live, then just drop it off the recording as well.
Right? Yeah. So
So on the self-titled demo, the song Primal,
yeah.
so you guys got this like sludge breakdown, and then there's like this long vocal,
I love that. I
and
noted
then
that
it
too.
breaks down again. I just wanted to comment on that. That was fucking really cool. Like that really stuck out to me as one of the songs that was like, okay, that's sweet.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
Primal a lot. Primal was really good. And we
Yeah.
the song that we'll show you guys here later.
Okay.
We used to play Primal and then that song back to back,
Oh, nice.
and so it's just like a real,
Mm-hmm.
just chaotic mess of just like 4 minutes.
Hell
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
So Sam, are you on the demo as well as the one with Torment release? Are you vocals on
No.
everything? Okay.
No, so the very first demo, that's Matt doing vocals.
Okay.
Okay.
Matt and Vinny. And then on the one with Torment release, that's me doing vocals on
Okay. I figured as much, but there was like, okay, you stayed really true to what was kind of already blueprinted for you,
that. Yeah.
but I
yeah.
felt like the vocals were definitely more powerful on, and that could be also recording, and that's no shade on the other guy, because the other vocalist, Matt,
Yeah.
there was nothing wrong there on the vocal department. I just felt like it was coming through a lot more on the newer
Well,
release.
that was something where when I had taken a hold of what we were gonna do, I was like, well, if we're just gonna redo them. Like, I'll do the vocals for them. Like, and at the time that I had joined the band, there was a little hairy situation where the EP was kind of already sent off and the vocals were already done, and then we ended up having to re-record a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, if we're gonna re-record it,
Yeah.
I'll just record my vocals over.
Yeah.
Like I know all the songs, I can go through and do it. And so I went through and did it, no problem. And we sent it in and got it back, and really happy with how everything kind of came out. So
Gotta love that feeling.
So is that kind of why you guys demo, or so you guys have the demo, and then you did the one with Torment, which are like some of the same songs, and it looks like it's like the addition of like one song maybe on there, right? Is that what
I think
it is?
there's two new songs on the for the one with Torment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that would be, I think, one with Torment and then Shooter Status.
Okay.
So those would be the two new songs. But it's kind of just a remixed album. It's a remixed demo with my vocals on it instead of Matt's vocals.
So you got something with you on it, basically representing what the band is now.
Yeah.
Okay, that
And
makes sense. I was kind of wondering about that.
These songs that we have right now, Random Malcontent, and then the two new ones that we're putting out, those are kind of like the first songs that I had my influence on, that I kind of was like, okay, no, like let's do this, and and it was cool. I liked it.
Okay,
So.
cool. So you guys on the actual song one with Torment, Ryan from Pain Divine is on there, and you had kind of mentioned that beforehand. How did that collab come about?
So we had the idea. So Vinny actually knows Ryan from back when he was in high school, because Ryan's a a band teacher.
Yeah.
And I believe Vinny went to the same school Ryan taught at, and so that kind of had that with that, but also we also felt too that Pain Divine was the only band within our scene that kind of fit what we were doing too. And I've always liked Ryan's vocals and stuff like that, and we kind of become friends with Ryan, and so we're like, hey man, what do you feel about doing a guest spot? Because we had the idea about doing having somebody come on and do a song, so like, why not just have Ryan? And he was like, no problem. He's like, yeah, hell yeah. He's like, I live like 10 minutes away from Vinny, so let's do it.
Oh, that's cool as hell. Yeah, Pain Divine, I've been friends with Jeremy for years, dude, 20 plus years. He actually missed a couple podcasts because he had some other obligations. So Jeremy from Pain Divine sat in his spot, did guest host. So it's like I go way back with Jeremy and Pain Divine. So it's kind of funny how there's always in metal scene. It's always like that Kevin Bacon effect where there's like just 7 degrees of separation. Like, you know what I mean? It's like now I know you guys, but didn't know you, but we know the same people. It's always something like that. Or I had seen you guys at a show and you didn't even know that I seen you guys.
Yeah. It's cool because it's like, especially with Pain Divine, like Bob, Mike, and all those dudes, like I grew up going to shows and seeing those guys and seeing their bands. So it's cool that like now the connection, like, hey, like, friends and stuff like that. So it's really cool that we got the chance to work with Ryan and have him be on our song and stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll start with you, Blayne, and then we'll go to you, Sam. Tell me a little bit about. I don't usually ask this if we have a full house because sometimes we'll do bands with like 4 people or whatever. So, but since it's just the two of you, I'm kind of interested. What got you into metal and extreme metal? Because this is an extreme metal podcast. We try to mostly keep it extreme metal. Yeah. That's our niche, right? It's like the death metal, the black metal. We'll venture a little bit outside of that with some other bands that sneak in, but that's what our podcast is dedicated to. So, tell me a little bit about how that just developed for you and your growth.
So the two key people in my life is my dad and my older brother. So my dad has always been like, big 80s metal stuff. So you got your Slayer, Metallica, all that good stuff. And he got me introduced into that. So that helped me kind of like get those first feel like, oh, cool, these bands, this band, stuff like that. And then, I have an older brother as well, like I said, and he kind of, he grew up like listening to a lot of like new metal and a lot of the early 2000s stuff. Okay. And so I remember distinctly, so whenever my brother was off like hanging out with his friends or whatever, I was always intrigued by the music he listened to. So I remember this one time I went to his room and he had this, like the old binders of like CDs and shit. So I go in there, take a couple CDs out. I remember there's two CDs that really stuck out for me that to this day. So it was Die for Your Government by Anti-Flag. Right. And then the other one was Poison the Well. Okay. And it was that one album. It's what is it? It's the album that has like nerdy and sliced paper wrists on it. I can't remember the name of it, but you had both those albums, and I'm just like listening to this, being like, whoa, this is like, like a Metallica's like the clean singing and stuff. I'm like listening to this, I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? Okay. You're like, you know what I mean? So listening to that and just being like, what else can I find and stuff like that. So I was probably 11, 12 listening to that. And then time goes on, I'm in middle school and then high school and stuff like that. So I really started going to shows when I was about maybe 15, 16. I would go with my older cousin, and he was really involved into going to so I went to high school in Plainwell, and so we had the community center there, and we also had a bowling alley. And so around that time, that's when like MySpace metalcore was a thing. So the really fringe hair and all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't that big into it. But I would go to those shows just to kind of meet people and stuff like that. And as time went on, eventually, they had started opening shows at the Portage Community Center. I don't know if you guys ever really played shows with your bands or not, but I remember there were a few local bands at the time. So one was this band called From the Ropes. They were just like a hardcore band, and I never forget that they covered this band called Guns Up, which is still one of my favorite hardcore bands. And I was like, dude, what the fuck is Guns Up? And I'm listening to hardcore, and I was like, this is more raw sounding, you know what I mean? So it's a lot more personal feeling being a teenager. And and then from there, just got on MySpace and stuff like that, and started diving into these bands, going to more local shows, started becoming friends with all these people, them sharing music with me. And and just started going to hardcore shows and metal shows in high school. Any chance I could, I'd hitch rides with people. Being like, who can drive us? I'll throw you gas money. Going to, from Indiana to Detroit to, all over, and really getting that experience and get to see all these really sick bands. And eventually, tried to play music with people, stuff like that. Started playing just local shows in a crappy little hardcore band, but honestly, some of the best moments, ever playing music and stuff like that. So that's kind of really it, just from then on, just been really big into just music, a bit of a big sponge, trying to absorb much as I can. And I was just a little shit kid and just skating around with my friends and trying to listen to hardcore punk. And then, and then I love, just death metal and stuff like that too. I've always, it's funny because I actually used to not like death metal. I would always would love the guitar and stuff like that, the distorted stuff. But I remember my buddy and I were like, yo, we should listen to Cannibal Corpse. So we put on that first album, and I was like, dude, these vocals sound like shit. Yeah. And it was like Chris Barnes, and I was like, dude, this guy sounds horrible. Yeah. Yep. But listening to Skullful of Maggots, I'm like, oh, this is a sick guitar riff.
Right.
And then eventually I was got past that, and I was like, all right, well, the vocals aren't that bad. So
yeah, that's I remember my first Cannibal Corpse, diving into Cannibal Corpse, I heard the bleeding. So I was kind of spoiled because that's probably Chris Barnes' pinnacle of how great his vocals were on that CD, because everything else he's ever done has kind of been shit. You go on the CD before that, Tomb of the Mutilated, and he just does all them fridge movers, the toilet bowl, the super low guttural, it's like what the fuck is this?
Dude,
have
you listened to the most recent most 6 feet under stuff?
No, I kind of after
it's so fucking funny, dude.
After Warpath, I just fucking wrote those guys off.
I like the Haunted. Don't get me wrong, that's a sick album.
Yeah, I like the Haunted, and I will go with what's is the next one Warpath with 420 and all that. I'll go that far because it's what I kind of grew up on, But other than that, I don't want to hear anything after that.
Dude, I love those AC/DC covers.
Oh no, man, I can't even entertain it. I'm with you, bro. I can't entertain it at all.
I was checked out immediately after the Haunted. I liked the first album, and then even when you were listening to the next album, I was like, I'm kind of surprised Jason likes this because I hate it.
There was a couple songs on there I really liked. Plus, I was smoking weed a lot, and he had the 420 song. So I was like, 420, fuck yeah, bro.
Dude, wild guy, man. That picture of him with the gun.
Yeah. So I was going to real quick just check you on the Poison the Well album. Was the title of that album perhaps Versions?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that for the audience. For your backstory, Versions is the album that kind of helped push you to where you are now.
Oh yeah, still love Poison the Well. I love early 2000s, late 90s metalcore.
Okay,
that's my shit. I love bands like that.
So that makes sense that you said if you were listening to, what'd you say, Anti-Flag? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So that's kind of why you grew into the guy that really likes hardcore. Is that?
Yeah.
And then the bands that you mentioned, Dying Fetus, Suffocation, those are all like death metal bands, but they have those slam parts and very, very influenced by hardcore. Suffocation, Dying Fetus, like almost you could say, I don't want to say deathcore because it's such a weird thing, but
these days,
but
such a loose term, deathcore. It's like I don't know, like I think that deathcore definitely gets its own like weird image of that kind of stuff. Because when I think of deathcore, like I don't think of like whatever. Like Lona Shore, stuff like that. Like Sam and I we grew up on like all like, you know, the like, what is it? Like
the Red Chord,
Despise Icon.
Despise Icon.
I fucking love Despise
Like all
Icon.
of that's like deathcore to me.
That's
Job for a Cowboy, the first one.
The first one. Yeah,
Doom is like the starting of deathcore.
The Acacia Strain, dude. Whew.
Fucking Acacia Strain. It's funny. I just seen Acacia Strain and Despised Icon. Like,
you guys say Acacia Strain. I say Amur. That's all. That's all.
That's fine.
Oh,
That's
man.
fine. That's fine.
I'm with it. I do think of Amur as more of a hardcore band for me, but they definitely lean into some metal elements.
Oh man, there's a couple of early tracks where Frankie's like singing clean. He's doing some clean singing over some like chord progressions.
Yep.
And it's like, man, this is so bad, but it's so good.
Yeah.
Right. Like
a lot of that early 2000 had like just the off the wall weird clean stuff where it made no sense, but it just fit so perfectly. You're like, this dude can't sing, but hey, this is fucking
That
awesome.
reminds me of what's that album, Nemesis by Earth Crisis?
Okay.
When Carl was like singing on it, and I was like, dude, this is weird. So definitely around that time when bands like, yo, who can sing? So just metalcore definitely had its weird spots where it was like, maybe you shouldn't be singing, my man. But
so you just picked up guitar along the way because you were influenced by.
Yeah. So when I was probably like 9 or 10, my dad bought me like one of those like off-brand like Strats.
Okay.
And you know, he was just like, you know, like here's a guitar, see if you're into it. And at first, definitely, I was, you know, kind of just dicking around, you know, not really doing too much with it. And then around that time when I was in high school going to shows and I had friends that like, oh, you play drums or, oh, you do vocals, whatever. I was like, all right, you know, that's when I was kind of taking guitar more serious and stuff like that. And I remember I joined one of my first bands. We were called Heated. We were just like, you know, a hardcore band, whatever. And I remember I was at Guitar Center with my dad and he was like, so you're taking guitar serious? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right. So he grabs me just like this, like, Ibanez Geo off the wall. He was like, do you like this? I'm like, yeah, I've always, you know, I've seen bands use these. These are cool. He's like, all right, I'll get it for you.
Nice.
So ever since then, like, you know, he saw that I was taking guitar more serious and wanting to, you know, pursue playing music and stuff like that. So it's really cool that, you know, my dad too also plays guitar. So it's cool that like,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it was cool that he saw that I was actually, you know, taking guitar serious and practicing and learning covers. That he was like, yeah, let's do it.
That makes me want to just real quick shout out to supportive parents because that really matters. Having somebody just in your corner, especially the ones raising you and don't see a problem with it. Like a lot of parents are like, no, that's a bunch of
too loud.
Violent druggies, you know, like, you know, just I don't want you in that scene. And I'm not saying that's every parent, but some parents are scared of
that.
A
lot of parents. It really is,
my parents loved it when I go to shows.
That's awesome.
Like they were always like my dad. It's funny. So when I go to my parents' house, my dad he would put on like a video of us playing or something. He's like, hey, check this out. He's like showing like our relatives. I'm like, Dad, I don't know if you want to be playing this.
Well, that's
cool.
awesome though. Like having him have that pride in you is
I love it. I love that my dad is my, you know, he supports. He's not, you know, Dawn of Agony is not really like his thing. He doesn't understand Sam's vocals. He calls it Cookie Monster. Like,
that's the same thing. I mean, with my dad's never understood anything that I've ever done. But I mean, when I was in high school, my band in high school played the Intersection a handful of times.
Hell yeah.
And so like my dad would show up. Like he just would,
nice.
and he'd be there, and he'd grab a couple of overpriced PBRs, sit up front, and he'd watch, you know. And it's the same thing. We got a show at Turnstiles in late April. Yeah. And my dad's, oh, that's Grand Rapids. That's not bad. I can come out to that. He's going to come out to that. So it's something. It's like, that's cool, you know.
Well, that's a good segue. So, Sam, why don't you go into a little bit of kind of how you started getting into music, extreme metal and everything, and then like kind of picked up the vocals and what inspired you to become the vocalist you are now?
I mean, so my mom was always huge into music, not necessarily, you know, extreme metal by any means, but from a young age, I mean, I still had a lot of like we would listen to Limp Bizkit and Metallica, and my older brother listened to Snot a lot.
Oh man,
I see you sitting right there. That's one of my fucking favorites, bro.
Oh man, that's one of that's
we got
it
to
right
see
there.
Snot.
Really?
We got to
jealous.
see them, and as awesome as that was, they did not do Lynn Straight's vocals justice because I could not hear him in the PA. It was so frustrating to see him strain them vocal cords.
Yeah.
But continue, please. Snot, awesome band. Love it.
I think that's a big one for me. That's still like a regular listen for me. That album, it's great. Yeah.
Not to interrupt before you continue, for some reason they don't have it on streaming though.
I have to YouTube it. Yeah.
It's not on any streaming platform because every once in a while I'm like, I want to listen to that Snot CD, and I try to pull it up. I'm like, fuck.
I just say I got to YouTube it and I got to let it roll on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, and then getting into that, there was my mom was really big into Blink-182, and so like I listened to a lot of pop punk into that realm.
Okay.
It wasn't until I was in probably about middle school I met this kid, and his name's Bill. And he started getting me into like real punk, if you will. So it's like Faith Void Faith, Gangrene, Black Flag, like some of that. So I started getting into hardcore punk.
Okay.
And through that, I had discovered Cannibal Corpse, actually.
Okay.
And that's what got me really big into it. Cannibal Corpse is the first band, and the Ace Ventura. The Ace Ventura feature. I mean, that's it for me. That's a lot of it. It's like I know that band.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna listen to this. This is sweet.
Yeah.
And then Under Oath was probably a big one. I was a big metalcore dude throughout high school.
Okay.
So like Under Oath, like Killswitch Engage, Lamb of God, like those were like. That was like core of what got me into a lot of metal.
Okay.
So after that, it was about just digging further into what is this, and Black Dahlia Murder will always be top 5 favorite band of all time.
Sweet.
That was Unhallowed. The first time I heard that, I was in like the 7th grade, and it was like this is nuts.
Yeah.
Like this is crazy. So that's up there for being some of my favorite.
When did you decide to pick up the mic and start doing?
I saw a Battle of the Bands at a high school when I was a freshman, and it was just a bunch of people almost my age, a bunch of kids my age. And when I was in high school, when I first started in high school, there was like 6 bands at my school, and they were all like metal bands and stuff.
Awesome.
So I was like, oh, this is cool. And then after
You had a cool school.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was saying
it was me and him playing death metal, and people were like, "What the fuck are these guys doing?"
What's wrong with these two?
It was like this was awesome. Like, okay, like this is sweet.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know like Society Kills.
Heard of it?
They're from Greenville originally. Like there was just so many bands that were there, and by the time they graduated, they'd all disbanded.
Yeah.
And so it was like by the time they graduated, they all disbanded. But I was starting to try one.
Nice.
So then we tried to get into a band together because I was like, I saw them and I was like, man, I could do that. I was like, I could totally do that. And I went home and I started just kind of trying to do it. And I would do vocals to Redneck by Lamb of God.
Awesome.
I try to copy Randy Blythe's vocals. That was the big one.
That's a good one to pick up with, like to start. Like
and it was just there. Randy and then the obvious, I think every kid had it. I did Suicide Silence covers. I was doing, Mitch Lucker covers, stuff like that. I think everybody did my age. But like The Cleansing was such a huge, important album. Still is like an important album to me. And like having all of that, it just really wanted, I don't know. I just really wanted to be a vocalist after that, you know? Nice. So I just started doing vocals and we started a little band, and that band was pretty cool. It took me out throughout high school, and then get to join Dawn of Agony, I get hit up to do these vocals, and I was like, well, yeah, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Well, you touched on a few things I want to speak to really quick, and one is that it really doesn't matter necessarily the genesis, but you were listening to what I like to call organic music, where it's not just studio production, all this pop fluff, where there's actually no real musicianship taking place. So, and there's no real gatekeeping here. Now, we're not going to spend a lengthy amount of time talking about pop punk, but those guys actually play guitar. Right, you're not going to tell me Blink-182 doesn't really play their instrument.
they rock.
Yeah, exactly.
They rock.
That's what I'm saying. And then even beyond that, like I am really heavy into like Midwest emo. I'm really heavy into like American football. Like just really weird kind of.
He always be
bands
joking
like
around us covering those songs.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
dude,
I'm always
fuck
joking
off.
around. I'm like, dude, wouldn't it be crazy if we covered like a Cap and Jazz song or something? Like that'd be nuts.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'm like really huge into a big array of music, and I think that like that helped from being young and just listening to other stuff before something really heavy. You know,
I think for me, like when you talk about guys coming from hardcore scenes, I kind of worked my way into some hardcore and punk vis-a-vis like that early thrash metal.
Yeah,
Anthrax. Am I wearing Anthrax today?
Yep.
So I never know. I wear many hats. But Scott Ian, huge in the hardcore scene, right? He just absolutely loved New York hardcore, and so I would dive into my uncle's cassette collection, and he'd steer me into like Rich Kids on LSD or Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, and I would as long as it's got some chunk on it, as long as it's got some bite and heavy, because what I don't want to hear is just rattling off power chords. I got to have a riff. I got to have a groove to it, where so that. The punk is okay with me, but I didn't start with punk. I kind of found it, and I was like, all right, there's some things in here that I dig, but it's always interesting to me to hear it from the other side of things. Like, I started with punk and hardcore, and then as my tastes grew, I started finding more, like, metal, thrash metal. That progressed into death metal, more riffs, more visceral music, So all origins are perfectly acceptable here.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think he said it best. That's kind of how I felt, was I was like, oh, man, all this kind of sounds the same.
Yeah.
I was like, all these bands are just playing like the same power chords over and over again. And yeah, it's aggressive and it's fast, but I'm like,
Yeah, you need more.
And then I'm like, I need something else. I need something to really. And then you're listening to like Burn the Priest. You're listening to like all of these like sick riffs. And you're like, man, what is this? And these powerful drums and all this stuff coming through. And
so. More technical. A little higher brow of musicianship, it's in some aspects.
And it's going to add to that too. It's kind of cool because like I'm really big into like seeing like mini documentaries and stuff like that. And I remember like talking about Lamb of God. They were talking a lot about how when they first started off and stuff like that, them being influenced by like almost like hardcore bands too, and also like but I also loved Bolt Thrower too. And so it's like cool stuff to see that like it just naturally happens that way, where it's like, with Sam and I being like in the hardcore scene and stuff like that, and then we also love like death metal and all that kind of stuff too. So that kind of transfers into like the music that we write too. Is like, we love writing these like really chaotic riffs and drums and vocals, but it's like the root of like us being hardcore because it's still there. Yeah. So that's kind of where a lot of our music draws from too. Is
Okay, so we were talking a little bit about your music too, and then so you guys came out with the Reign of Malcontent, and that was just a single.
Yep.
And September 14th, 2023. At least that's kind of what the date said when I looked it up. We actually listened to you guys' song on one of our reaction episodes. I think we even sent you the clip or whatever.
Yeah, we get to watch that.
So if you guys are watching or listening to this, if you want to hear our full review of that song, go back and watch our reaction episode 3. We featured you guys on it.
Hell yeah.
Sam, I think you're even actually on the artwork, so I stole one of your pictures and put it on the art for that episode. So thank you for
no problem
being a cover model for Metal Maniacs. Appreciate that. And then, so what's up with the single? Why, did you guys just have something new that you wanted to put out, or why was it you guys just put out a single at this time instead of like another EP or a full length or something like that?
Well, just at the time that was like the first song that I had influence on, and we were originally going to it was going to be a 3-track EP, and just the 2 new songs that we just recorded, we just recorded them differently, so it's just it wouldn't sound coherent to release them as like one full thing. So we're just going to throw that as a single. We're releasing a promo, and then we're going to be back in the studio.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Recording again for another. We'll probably put out another 5-6 songs here. So
okay, so I have a quick question too as we're moving from the demo on into their newer stuff featuring Sam. You guys had all of these pretty cool samples on the demo, which Jay and I love those things. Like they just set a mood, and I'm like, the fuck is happening right now in my head?
Yeah.
And one of them I thought was, and let me pull up my note real quick. I want to get to exactly what it was here.
Matt wrote all those samples. So.
Okay, so Truth Through Deicide, 6 sample, visceral. I might puke if I have to listen to it again. What's that sample from?
Dude, okay, so that's from Silent Hill.
Okay.
So Matt and I so we we love like video games and stuff like that.
Okay.
And so I'm really big into a lot of the like horror games, like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Bloodborne,
Fuck
Dark.
that game.
Shut up. Dude, what? Yeah, dude, I get pissed.
So fucking hard. Dude, all right.
I know that for real.
We'll save that for another episode. But
I
anyway,
get
go
so
ahead, buddy.
pissed. It's so like I love
Fuck
this
that
game.
game.
I get so mad. I don't, dude. Yeah, but no, we had the idea of using that sample because we like samples a lot. We don't have any currently as far as like on the new stuff,
Right.
but we do fuck around with like, hey, let's try this and let's this. So yeah, no, those samples Matt just made, just hacking away on his keyboard, just making them. So shout out to him for doing that.
So basically, because they're mats, if you will, they didn't make it onto the re-recording, or you just decided.
I don't know.
We decided not to do it. I think, you know,
I don't know.
I think it was something special just for the demo, and then we were working on new sample stuff for upcoming music, and then Matt ended up leaving the band. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we still appreciate those.
Yeah.
And I think that if you use them going forward or use different ones going forward, always a good thing to set the mood while you're listening before you roll into a song. I think if they're short enough, you know, it's okay. But if I have to listen to a 2-minute sample, I might be
that's
like,
kind of why we took that.
Make it its own track.
Yeah, like we kind of like took away that too with the sample stuff because those samples were so lengthy.
Yeah.
That we're like, dude, this shit's taking forever. Especially the Silent Hill one and Truth Through Deicide. We're like, oh my god, dude, it's like a minute and something to the song start.
Yeah.
So that's kind of when we were coming up with like one with Torment. We're like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be putting these long samples.
Sure.
But
sorry.
No.
Oh, that was it, man.
I say the new Dissected record has some sick like samples, and it goes along with how the record is.
Right.
And I think you guys would dig that too. That's absolutely.
We made all ours skippable. We made them entirely their own tracks.
Yeah. Shout out to our dudes in Dissected.
Yeah.
Awesome fucking death metal band from Tiffin, Ohio.
Oh yeah.
Just put out a new put out a new record, and it's pulverizing front to back.
We're checking out for sure. Good, like she said, like, dude, shit's heavy. They put that work in for sure. Always awesome. They always invited us out to come play Ohio and stuff like that. So
Nice.
Been given some cool opportunities playing with some upcoming death metal bands because of them. So shout out to them for that.
Oh yeah. So tell me a little bit about the name of the band. How did you come up with it?
Because all right, so oh my god, so there's a Morbid Angel song called, I think it's called Dawn of the Agony.
That sounds right. Yeah, it's off of the Domination album.
So I'm like kind of dyslexic, and I thought it said Dawn of the Agony at first, and I was like, Dawn of the Agony. All right, cool. I was like, I'll do Dawn of Agony. I'm looking, it's like Dawn of the Angry. I'm like, all right, fuck it, we'll keep the name. So I'm like looking at it, and I was like, there's a Morbid Angel song. They're like, dude, no, there's not. And I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh shit, no, it's Angry, not Agony. But no, and I I don't know, dude. Just one day, I was probably stoned, and I was just like, "This seems like a sick name," and I just sent it to Vinny, and then
That's fucking awesome.
Vinny was like, "Yeah, okay."
I love it.
No, that's a cool story. It's
That's
funny. I also like the
great.
acronym DOA because if you just go DOA, it's like Dead on Arrival.
Yeah.
So
That's what we do. We do the DOA a lot. And That's kind of like we're working on getting like a logo with just the DOA as one
that's
of the
cool.
logos.
Yeah, I think it sounds cooler than just saying Dawn of Agony. Which,
Also-
I like our name, but
Also,
it's
I gotta say, it's pretty dope that it's at least now that 2 bands that come right out of the Morbid Angel catalog.
Yeah,
Like, we
just
got Pain
Pick a
Divine.
name
oh yeah,
from there.
Covenant's a great
Yeah.
album.
Hell yeah, fucking A, it is top 5 all time death metal.
I love it. All their albums in alphabetical order too.
Yep. Good.
Dude, I was like I didn't no idea. One day I'm looking, I was like, oh shit, no way.
Yep.
Yeah, we just did a bio episode where I talked about them for 2 hours and told the whole Morbid Angel story. So that'll be coming out soon. We do that
nice.
occasionally on the show
That's
too.
cool.
We just
Oh yeah.
tell the whole story of like one of the bands that have influenced us. You know,
yeah.
the reason
That's
why we're
cool.
sitting here, or why we play music. You know.
Absolutely.
Quick little story. I seen a guy with one of you. or seen a dude with you guys' shirt on, like the Hot and Now type shirt
yeah.
on.
Oh yeah, dude.
On Friday when we went or whatever. Because I was just standing there minding my own business, and then like. Those, and I understand if you're standing by the pit, you might get fucking smacked. But like at my age, I ain't trying to pit. Like I ain't trying to fuck with you. Like I just there to enjoy the show.
I get sore, man.
But you got them younger cats, fucking they want to test you because you're standing on the edge. And I was standing there, so I'm just sitting there chilling. And this kid fucking comes along and he kind of just sees me and he kind of just fucking does this, right? And I was like. Something just clicked. Like I wasn't gonna fight the dude because it's a show. I know how it goes. I've been to fucking many shows, but I just fucking laid into this dude, and he didn't expect that. He went flying, and the dude was like 50 something more pounds than me. But I'm like, dude, I fucking work out for a reason. I fucking just pushed his ass, and he went flying. And then he didn't fuck with me after that. But then I seen him take his thing off, and he had a Dawn of Agony shirt.
Dude,
I was like, hell yeah, cool shirt, bro.
Cool shirt. Keep 10 feet distance.
We love that with especially on our shows too. These new kids are liking because for what we play too, we're not like a very straightforward hardcore band, and I feel like that sometimes gets a little bit like these guys do their own thing, whatever. But it's sick when we play. I remember we were playing Truth Through Deicide, and that one part where it comes through with that slow slam part, and just watching the room. So that shit's always sick. Watching kids spin kick to death metal. Yeah. Don't be afraid to mosh to death metal.
Well, you had mentioned something at the beginning of the show. So we have this resurgence of this like kind of old school / hard. It's like hardcore kids playing death metal, like almost in your case. So you got the Frozen Soul guys. Yeah. You got the fuck, their name escapes me, and I love their fucking band, but. Sugabog, you got those guys out, and then you got
there's so many
200 Stab Wounds. That was the band that I was thinking of. But these are like the hardcore bands that are or hardcore kids that are playing death metal, but they have kind of like the old school feel and the new school. But I love this whole resurgence. Basically the whole Maggot Stomp catalog, Vomit Forth, like all these different kind of bands doing this thing, and I feel like you guys fit really well into like that.
Thank you.
We just do the damn thing.
And that's even like going forward, we have we're trying to take a sound and really evolve it, and we're really trying to make sure that we're trying to stay out of a category, I guess. So it's like even with like our new set that we have, because coming up it's all new music that we're playing at shows.
Yeah, we're not playing anything off the EP.
Yeah, the only thing that there's nothing there. The only thing that we're playing is promo stuff, and it's all new stuff.
Yeah,
it's all
cool.
whole new catalog of things, and we're still writing.
Yeah,
so that's the most important part, is that we're still going to be cranking out songs, and we are going to be getting back into the studio here soon and keep writing. And when I want people to hear us, that's what I want. I want people, wow, that's kind of weird, But a very like wall of sound is I think what we're going to be going for here soon.
And like kind of to the thing with like Rain too. The reason why I felt that the single fit well with just that solely being alone was that's kind of us turning the chapter to a new thing of the band. So like if you guys listen to the EP, each of the songs kind of don't really blend well together, in my opinion. So like Blue Lives, that's a hardcore song, just very bump 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 bump. And then there's Primal, that's a little bit more of a grindier song. And then Truth's more of a tradition, straightforward death metal slam. So I kind of feel Sam and I talk a lot about is with moving forward with the band. A lot of our new material is all going to kind of have it's going to not piggyback off each other, but definitely it's going to blend well and kind of develop a new style and sound for us that we've been itching to be, going towards and stuff like that. So
you just mentioned a song I wanted to speak to. Jay, did you have something before I dive into it?
No, I seen you were going to talk, so I was going to let you ask what you wanted to ask.
So Blue Lives Shatter. First of all, I fucking love the title.
Thank you.
And I wanted to ask, is the lyricist for that in the house?
No, that's
That's all Matt.
That's all Matt.
I came up with the name, and then Matt wrote all the lyrics to the EP.
Because I was going to give you guys a platform here to answer the question, are all cops bad? And if you guys don't want to answer that question,
I got a little tattoo right there.
There it is, right there.
Oh, A-cab. I'm on that trend. So.
All right, I am like 90% on that fucking trend, but I don't want to get pulled over and beat to death. So for the 10%,
oh yeah.
So for the 10% good ones out there, if you see this face, I'm thinking you're good. You can write me that ticket. I want to live. I got a family, so peace. I think that's an awesome title. We can keep drawing attention to this because what the fuck's going on in this country?
Yeah,
like,
right,
what the fuck, dude? I'm just trying to live my life, and that, you know, there's definitely some people out there that feel that ACAB is the truth, and when you look at personalities of some of these people that go into that profession,
it's there.
Yeah, you should have picked up a guitar instead of a gun, homie.
Man.
Yeah.
So
fucking high school bullies, man.
That's I wanted to give you guys. It's not very musical, but if you're gonna write about it, you can speak to your content, and I allow you to.
I mean, and that's kind of. I feel like even punk and hardcore, just in general, if you're not putting out music with even some sort of a meaning, I mean, like, I mean, we have songs that are meaningful, we have songs that aren't meaningful, but I mean, like, we're still gonna put out something that like is gonna mean something to us. New song that we have is very, meaningful in a sense that it's very anti-genocide and anti everything that's going on, in the world right now. And I'm still writing about stuff that's very serious, and I'm writing about stuff that's not serious.
Yeah. So also of note, though, when you're playing these songs, you don't need to get up there and give us a sermon, right?
Gosh, no.
Doesn't that fucking suck?
Dude,
I love that reaction.
It's so so I like to say I went and saw Census Fail one time, and I saw Census Fail on the one time that the vocalist of Census Fail didn't do like a 30-minute preaching about, this or that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't do this.
Right.
And there's so many times where you go up there and you do that, and it just like, I don't care.
I feel like your music needs to speak for itself too. You know what I mean? Like,
if you can't convey it, if you can't convey it through your music, if you need
your art,
20 minutes of ambient and then you just talking over it, then it's not gonna mean anything to me.
We're not worried.
I gotta feel
your virtue signaling.
Yeah,
you can fucking keep that shit at home. I'm good on that.
I like to just escape all that shit when I'm at a concert, even if I'm in full agreement with you. Like, that is truth. I hear you. But right now, I'm trying to shut my brain off and only hear riffs and music and screaming and petting and all that.
We've been doing,
So both things can exist. Like, you can have a message and you can have content that's meaningful to you, but your time to play on the stage is exactly that, a time to play your music and not deliver a sermon to your audience.
Yeah.
Plus, it's very divisive. The divisiveness can occur in the comments, and when the fans gather and they want to argue, no, it's about this, or no, you're seeing it wrong, that's fine. You want to create engagement like that, but what you don't want to do is stand there and preach to them and tell them this is how it is, otherwise you're not a fan of our band. Well, don't create that divisiveness.
Yeah, you are alienating people when you're trying to push your agenda on them. Like, you can have your feelings, but if I'm a fan of your band, I will read into that because I'm going to look at your lyrics or watch your music videos or whatever it may be and know what you stand for. And then we can come to an agreement, like you said, but I'm not going to sit there and try to, I'm on your side with this,
Right.
It's like, let's just play fucking music,
That's,
man.
play your shit and get off the stage.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of how, when you're like a local band, like, there are a few, not to name them, but they just,
Name them. No.
Do it now.
But no, they'll just just dick around on stage. If you're a local band and your set is like fucking over 30 minutes, dude, you need to get off.
Yeah,
like,
fuck off.
Even if your set's like 20 minutes, sometimes it's like, it depends, how long your songs are. But especially at the beginning of DOA, we had like, almost 25 minutes worth of music. We're like, this is way too long. So we like literally cut 2 songs out. We're like, we're not even gonna play these songs anymore either.
Oh man!
So
25 minutes in my world is not long enough. But Jason and I
it's
write
my
5, 6
attention
minute
span.
songs.
I just can't handle that. Like, I went to a show. My good buddies in Novice. We came down at the Runoff in Kalamazoo. Saw them play with some really good bands, and it was a really, really good time with these bands being like, play, get off, play, get off. So it's nice that local bands start to kind of get that hint, like, hey, like, maybe speed it up a little bit or whatever.
I think some of that comes with maturation too. Like, you've been in a band for so long, and let's just play 5 songs and get out of everybody's way. We're going to show you what we got. We're going to display that in a short amount of time.
Right.
And then we're going to take into consideration we also have to set up and move shit too.
Yeah.
And there's other bands here. It's like, let it be about the experience as a whole, not about your band. Like, we got to get over that. Like, oh, I'm here, look at my band, and we're going to play for 48 minutes while everybody else plays 15-minute set because you're dicking off.
Yeah, especially when bands are coming out of town, you know? It's like these bands literally travel to come play, and they're just, nobody's going to watch them because you're too busy just dicking around.
Yeah. I understand, getting set up, and then if there's some kind of malfunction or technical difficulty, but then at the same time, you need to be cognizant. I can't say that word right now. Of shortening your set. Like, sorry, your shit fucked up. You should have came ready. Stuff happens, but maybe you only played 3 songs. Sorry, I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is what it is.
I remember we'd be playing shows when I was in high school there, and we had like 4 different songs that we had like a minute or a minute and a half like intro, and so like we'd go through these songs, and I'm like, oh. Then I'd sit on stage. I'm not doing anything for like a minute and a half for like 4 songs in a row. And I'm like, guys, we got to take something and like cut some of this stuff out.
Trim the fat.
I said, this is just, there's no reason for like half of this.
Yeah, right.
It was so long. And that's even like today. I take that into my songwriting. I take that into when we get together and we write songs. It's like, well, let's see what we can not have in here. And let's see,
trim
like
the
you
fat,
said, trim the fat.
Yeah.
Like let's see what we can do, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, why don't you tell us a little bit about the writing process? I'm always interested to hear about how that comes about and how each band does it.
So since DOA has started, a lot of it is just Vinny and I. So since the demo to the EP to even now, Vinny and I just get in the room together and we'll just, we'll bounce ideas off each other. And we'll just kind of be like, hey, like, I'll text him, maybe like a week before, like, hey, what do you feel like doing something like this? Or even there's times where we've wrote songs like that day on the spot, just us throwing stuff around. So a lot of it is just, hey, I got this riff. What can you write drums to? So Vinny's like, dude, he's like a machine.
Yeah.
So you can throw
he's a hell of a drummer, man.
Dude, he anything I throw at him, he'll just kind of come up with something, and then we'll just keep hashing at it eventually until something sticks. And then what we'll do is we'll kind of record up to that part. And then we'll come into, Sam being there. It's nice because he contributes a lot with like the direction and stuff.
Okay, cool.
And then with Taj, who's also a drummer who plays in another band called Dog's Teeth. He understands like, with drums and stuff like that, and like, oh, let's try this, or oh, let's not do that, or whatever. So it's nice that we have that with the chemistry with the band. So, but yeah, no, it's always just been Vinny and I just dudes dicking around, really just coming up with stuff.
Okay. You gotta have the melody meet with the beat, and that's a good place to start.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I must be tripping. I thought you guys had another guitar player for some reason.
We did at one point.
Did you guys have one at that show?
So you saw when you saw us, that was like that was the last time that we had like a full a full 5-piece band.
Yeah,
okay, I wasn't tripping. I was like, I swear to God, you guys had 2 guitar
that was
players.
Matt. Matt was the other guitar player.
Okay.
So Matt went from bass vocals to guitar player, and then he ended up leaving.
Yeah,
and
it was like bass vocals, guitar, and then then
he was gone.
Yeah,
and so now we are just the 4-piece of just Taj, Blayne, Vinny, and I.
Okay, I'm not.
So is that the format that you'd intend to keep then, just the 4 of you?
We've definitely been able to make do with the 4. Like having 2 guitar players definitely helps with your with lead and rhythm and writing all like the cool shit, but like, dude, I don't know, I can't come up with cool shit to where we need another guitar player. Plus with the kind of time that Sam and I have and stuff like that, him living up with Rockford, I live in Kalamazoo. He's married, have kids, I've got a full-time job and stuff like that. And so it's just like, we don't really have the time to really focus on having somebody else come and be like, all right, man, like, can you do this time? No? Okay, cool. Bye. It's just, we work well with the 4 of us. And I think that, for what we do and stuff like that, too, especially the direction of our band now, I don't think a second guitar player is really needed.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're not going to be doing a bunch of melodies and progressive highbrow, like if you're not going to distinguish the 2 guitars and one's just basically another volume on the other side of the stage, then, you don't really need it.
We plan on having Taj, our bass player, do a lot of like melody stuff, do a lot of fun bass stuff.
Hell yeah.
He's a hell of a musician.
He's a big Primus fan too.
So he's always, that's what we're always yelling at him at practice. He's always hitting Primus riffs. Stop,
dude.
Not here.
Stop.
Not here. This ain't the place.
I'm not a Primus fan.
He plays the bass really well.
Yeah.
He's been a really nice addition to the band there. And
Sweet.
Love having him in the band. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
He's he reminds me a lot of myself when I was his age.
So he's a younger dude then?
Yeah.
And so he just loves music, anything from not just hardcore to DOA, and he just listens to a lot of different stuff. Like when we were recording vocals for the single we were gonna, show you guys, Taj and Outside, just him and I were just talking about God, what were we talking about? We were talking about just like weird music. You know what I mean? Just like, I don't know. Like he's just like a sponge with music and just listening to everything. We're talking about from like hip hop to like you name it. So it's cool. You know what I mean? I like having that young spirit in our band because Sam and I are getting old.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, we get it.
So shout out to him though, because the bass work and the bass tones on the One with Torment EP are pummeling. I mean, it was right out there in the mix. You could hear him. That is him, correct? On that? Okay, so love the bass tones and the bass work on that. Shout out to him. And I think for what you guys say that you're going to be doing going forward, that might be a nice way to separate yourselves a little bit. Have the guy do what he does best. If he rips bass solos, then do it.
Yeah.
If Dying Fetus can do it, we can do it.
Hell yeah. I mean, we just went and saw Throne, and thankfully on this night there was a lot of bass in the mix, and they have one of the best bass players I've ever seen.
Oh man, their bass is sick.
And
they're a great band.
Yeah, I absolutely love when the bassist gets their time to shine. So good work, Taj, on your EP and your bass lines there.
I have that same note that the bass sticks way out on the One with Torment. Like it's kind of more in your face. It's right there. And I like that.
But it's not in a bad way because you guys got a great
bad way.
tone on it, like a dirty, gritty bit of a distortion on it.
Yeah,
so,
we like to have everybody kind of stick out in their, what they're playing and stuff like that too.
So I got two more questions about the writing process.
Of course.
First one is for you, Sam. Tell me how you approach writing. As far as like, do you wait until everything's done? Do you start freestyling over shit when they're jamming out in the room? Are you getting an idea along the way? Like, what does that look like for you?
So I kind of do both. If something's really clicking, and if I can hear it, then I'll start trying to write there. But for a lot of stuff, I wait until it's done.
Okay.
I wait until it's done, and I wait until I can hear. All right, this is kind of a hook, or this is kind of a chorus. This is where I'd write this, and this is kind of a verse riff or a bridge or whatever like that. It's just sometimes it's just on. Sometimes I'll be there and I'll get it, or I'll have other stuff wrote, or like I'll have just because anytime throughout the day, if I have something where I just think about something, and if it's something I'm like, oh man, that'd be really cool.
So you
I just write it down like immediately. Oh
yeah,
so I got like my notes list.
Hell yeah, that's cool.
Filled with little one-liners here and there. That I'm like, oh, that'd be sick. So I do a lot of that, and I have like a lot of writing. But like for the song that we're gonna show you guys, the song's called "Occupied Death." I mean, I've renamed that song 3 times now.
Okay.
What was the one name you came up with? It was David Blayne's.
I can't remember. It was some super long name that we had. And it was like a funny MySpace name.
Yeah.
But that was like the first version of the song, and I was like, all right, like, and it was wrote completely different. And then one day I was just like, I don't like this, and so I just erased it from my notes. And
that happens.
I had the guy that was recording us, John, he had sent me over the first rough track of the recording that we did, and I just wrote a whole new song.
Oh, nice.
Through that, and I wrote it with the recording, and it just like, after I got done writing it, I was like, this is so much better.
Yeah.
Like this is just like leagues better of what this was. And I'm like, and I feel really proud of this now. Now this is something that I'm really happy with. And
nice.
Especially hearing it back, when we got it back, it was just like, wow.
So was it like all new vocal patterns, or just
all new vocal patterns? It was all new. It was all new lyrics. It was all new. There was one part that I kept because it was like really good, and that was what I liked. But for the most part, just like everything was new lyrics, new vocal patterns, and I did it with the recording right behind it, so I knew that I wasn't going to mess these guys up. Because that's something that I don't want to just change something entirely and then all of a sudden have it mess up everybody else because they're expecting this, and this.
Or they're used to hearing it the other way.
So I'm
whatever.
like, okay, no, if I'm writing this, I'm going to write it with the backing of the drums, the guitars.
Yeah, so my question for you, Sam, was going to be, do you feel like you have a hand in changing the arrangement? Like, hey, this part is more of a chorus, or is it already coming from Blayne, like with a structure set, and you don't need to like rearrange the song in any way?
I mean, sometimes we have to play a little copy paste cut, whatever in there. But for the most part, we're all pretty on board with it. So for the most part, as long as I'm there for it, as long as I'm there for it, I can hear it and I can hear it going. And then once we jam it and we're like, okay, guys, but where's the chorus at? Is this the chorus? Yeah. And then they start hitting it and be like, okay, no, let's decide this is the chorus. I'm like, okay, so then let's write around that.
Okay.
And because that's something that I'm really, really a stickler on, I guess. Just making sure I can hear a verse riff, making sure I can hear a chorus riff, making sure I can, tell between the two which one's what.
Okay. Yeah. I like to repeat riffs too. That's something I like to do. If you guys ever like listen to the EP, is I like to look at things as like, hey, like not as like someone's like a pop perspective of it, but also as like more of like a catchy, like, hey, like let's bring the riff back, or one of the songs that we're going to be releasing too, it has that a lot where the riff comes back. It Sam kind of in flow with certain part of the song and stuff like that. So I look at that too as, it's the song doesn't get so worn to where it's like, all right, we can kind of keep it to this part, and like we'll bring the riff back and then we'll do this, and you know what I mean? So it's just like structurally, I feel like we have a formula how we like to do things. And so Sam could fit vocals in. So like he was saying about the chorus, verse, all that stuff. So I feel, he's a vocalist, you want to be able to fit all your shit in there. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to the show, we're a big fan of arrangements like that, like having callbacks, having cool riffs that should repeat, having vocal patterns that repeat. So if I turn your song off, there's something stuck in my head. I'm not a huge. I know you guys grew up in the early 2000s where a lot of that shit was what I call riff soup or riff salad or whatever you want to call it, where it's like riff part riff. It's just like a amalgamation of a bunch of shit, and it's like it has its time and place, and some bands are really good at it. Like Dillinger's a great example of that stuff. Still somehow sticks in your head, even though it's like 4 minutes of what the fuck, at a song, but. We are big fans of that, especially that's the kind of music we grew up on, the old school death metal, everything, death. Even, I mean, you brought up Cannibal Corpse. They do that. Yeah. They still do that. They've always done that.
I feel like the kings of like making riffs stick in your head is Killswitch Gage. Adam B.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that man right there is the king of, oh, you want a cool riff? Guess what? I got one for you right now. Yeah. Instantly.
And I think if you got a really good riff that you believe in and that you just feel it every time you play it, you can take that and fuck with it a little bit by changing the beat behind it.
Yeah.
Change the tempo a little bit. Like we do it 1, 2, and 3 times, but that third time we're going to break it down and we're going to slow it down, or we're just going to do something different vocally or on the drums behind it to give it a little bit more impact. By the time you've heard it the third time, it's not just strictly a repetitious part. Yeah. It's something that you've now enhanced because you believe in it so much. So stay writing with your formula if it works for you, and always try to enhance it in that way. So where you're like, we do repeat parts, but by the time we hit you with that third or fourth time, you're like, we're changing it on you a little bit because you thought you knew, but here we come.
Yeah.
So my other question about the writing process, and I'm always interested to see how bands approach this as well. What happens if you bring something to the table and they're like, not?
I look forward to them doing that because I don't want them to lie. Like, if you can tell me in my face, like, dude, this verse sounds like shit, or I don't like this. Like, I want them to tell me this stuff.
Yeah.
That's why, these new songs that we've been writing too, I look at Sam, Taj, and Vinny. I'm like, what do you think? No? Yes? Because I want the honest truth, because, their names are also on these songs.
Yes.
We're playing these songs live. The last thing I would want is to hear from one of the guys say to one of them, being like, oh, dude, this song sucks.
Yeah.
Or, I don't like, because there's songs that we have that we don't currently play anymore that I'm just like, dude, I don't like playing this song. Like, I don't like, and it's me thing. So there is a song that we are going to be bringing back. We don't know when. It's off the demo. I don't want to say which one yet, but I'm changing things up on it because we'd only played the song a handful of times live, and I'm like, dude, I hate this song. I hate playing it live. I wrote it, and stuff like that. So I like when the guys come to me and say, hey, I don't like that. Or they give out suggestions. Mostly it's Vinny. He likes to, I love that he's having not only the drums in mind, but the lyrics, the guitar, all that. So he also helps direct, like, oh, try it like this, or this is that. So he had a lot to do with Rain. Him and then our old bass player too, they wrote that song. So I actually didn't even write Rain.
Oh, okay.
None of that. I wasn't, so that was all them who did that.
I feel like it gives everybody in the band ownership.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's 4 guys in the band. We all want to be proud of what we put out.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be the Blayne show.
Yeah, exactly.
There are bands out there that are like that, but most of the bands we've had on, even lately, they all kind of say the same thing. Yeah. So it's pretty cool to see like it's a consistent thing among the scene, that everybody just wants the feedback and they just want to write the coolest shit for themselves.
Yeah, I like, honestly, even when you guys review that song, like, dude, the song sucks. I'm like, all right, it sucks. All right.
Yeah, I don't think we said it sucked.
No. I know you did. I meant, like, even if you did say,
I was like, I don't think we said it sucked.
No. You guys actually liked it, surprisingly.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Even if I have a negative feeling about something, I'm just going to speak to the better parts of it. Even if it's like outside of my taste.
You still got to save face for it.
Yeah.
Well, we try not to gatekeep on this show. Plus, everybody likes different stuff, and somebody still put the effort into doing what they do with their art. So it's like, can't ever say something sucks,
Yeah, no, that'd be so fucking rude. And
I would just laugh when you guys said it sucked.
I'd like to tell this just real fast story before we get into the next thing. So, Machine Gun Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Dope ass rapper. Love his rap shit. Like, I'm just a fan. I'm a big fan of hip hop and rap too, So I really I've always liked a lot of his shit. So it was a year ago that I posted on he came out with this video and I watched it and I posted on there and I said, this is dope. You should stick to this. It's way better than that shitty pop punk shit that you're doing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I get like a notification of a like the other day and he liked my comment, and I was like, man, I feel like a dick kind of, because like it was like his personal page, like his actual name, and that's not the Machine Gun Kelly page.
Right.
Like I think his name is Colson Baker or something like that. But like he actually liked it, and I was like, man, I kind of feel like a dick for saying that, because it's like he's making money doing it. It's just not my thing. I love some pop punk too.
Sure.
Like I really like, but just whatever he's doing, I'm not a 14-year-old girl. It's not for me, right?
Right.
And it's not that it sucks. Like I hate saying that, like it sucks. No, I just don't like it. Okay, like it doesn't mean it sucks, right?
Yeah.
Like
right. I would never tell somebody their band sucks, especially when they put that work into.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
he's doing the work. It's not terrible.
Yeah,
it's just not for me.
It's one thing if it's not for you, but another if it's just like, I don't think anyone's band just sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it only sucks if you're not trying. How I see it.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. And like again, not trying to make anybody feel bad. I'm only going to speak to what's good.
Yeah.
And leave it at that. And if you watch, we've got like 35 episodes or so. Like you're going to kind of get to know our tastes.
Yeah.
Anybody who's watched enough episodes are going to be like, well, these guys only like this kind of music. But that doesn't mean we're not going to premiere your band, your art on our show and give it a platform and help your audience grow. And we're not going to sit here and down anybody's music.
I mean, I think you guys just did one. You guys just did one the other not too long ago where it was not really a metal band, but the riffs were kind of heavy.
Maybe
perhaps
THV
comes to mind.
Yeah,
it's kind of goofy, quirky.
Yeah. No, it was sweet, and I was like, yeah, this is sweet. I was like, yeah, this isn't metal, but this is sweet. And I was like, and you guys did a good review on it. It was a good episode. That was,
and also, I think some things fit well with metalheads that isn't metal. But we just kind of gravitate toward it. Maybe an old school example might be Tool. I don't think people call Tool a metal band unless they just think that's what metal is.
Yeah.
But when you listen to enough metal, you're kind of like, it's more rock or progressive, highbrow stuff. But a lot of metalheads go to it. Same with maybe Mastodon. Maybe not a metal band, give or take. Maybe old school Mastodon, yes. Nowadays, maybe not as much.
Growing up Mastodon, maybe not so much. But
there's plenty of better examples, perhaps.
Well, even we had Drink Their Blood on there. Obviously, two of them guys play in my band. You know, Iron Sharpens Iron. So it's a little different, but at the same time, like Iron Sharpens Iron's a fucking metal band. Drink Their Blood has metal parts, but there's a lot of other shit going on too. Saxophone. Slow parts. So it's like, they're metal enough to fit in the metal category, but they're not just all metal. So it's kind of like, where do you put that? Because they're not jazz. They said they're malevolent jazz, but I love it. That's not a category.
But I like that a lot. I have a friend down in Texas. They play in a band called Throat Piss.
Okay.
Yummy.
They originally had a bass player, and then he did like a saxophone part. I think he's got like a baritone sax.
Okay.
Like the real deep one. And they were like, man, that sounds really cool. Now he just plays the baritone sax.
Oh, nice.
And they're like a blackened death metal band with a saxophone in it, and it sounds wild. Like it's absolutely out of this world.
Fuck yeah.
They just put out an EP last year, but Throat Piss, real cool, sweet band. Been friends with those guys for a long time.
Nice. All right, so I do got to bring this up on the show since we're talking about the reaction episode. Let's talk about the great Art Debacle with Living Dissection.
Oh, man.
No, it was...
Somebody's got to own something
Yeah,
here.
so something, since you guys are on the show, hopefully we'll get them on the show at some time, but I'll just tell you this. I believe I was podcasting or I was sleeping or something, and I woke up to a message from the guy from Living Dissection. And I'm like, and he said something, hey, man, that band used your art. And it was just a very weird coincidence that you guys both had sent us a song. We both reviewed it on the same show. Nick and I didn't even catch that because they sent us a video to watch, right?
Okay. Oh, okay.
And, when I make the little clips, sometimes I'll steal stuff off your Facebook, little pictures or, whatever. And then I happen to put you guys' art on there. And then he had brought it up. So I was just like, I'm like, I don't direct the art for Dawn of Agony, homie.
No,
I don't know what
exactly.
the fuck.
Right.
I mean, he was like saying it wasn't on us, but he's like, I was like, that sounds like something you might have to talk to them about. I don't even really know. Obviously, it's cool that gotten to know you guys now. You know, fucking, hopefully we'll get to hang out and know each other a little bit more. But I'm like, dude, I don't do the art. I fucking just do the podcast.
No, it was just a big kind of misunderstanding from our end. We had that image since like 2022. We found it on Google.
Oh, okay.
And there wasn't like an artist
there
wasn't any credit onto it. So
I didn't just say like, oh, this is sick and just take it off. Like it was just like there was no handle to it. Yeah. I even reversed Google. I literally just looked up like hooded fucking, I don't even know, like just something random, and I was like, let's look. I thought it was from like a textbook. And so I was like, all right, I was like, I did my research, stuff like that, because like, we have art that we paid for. We pay for our own shit.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? So, and it all worked out with talking to those guys or whatever, but it was just like, Matt actually hit me like 3 a.m. He was like, hey, check.
This guy's, messaging you.
Yeah.
We finally got a hold of I think it was their guitar player, Mike. And I was like, hey man, real sorry. Never want to say anything of like, never wanted to be malicious or anything. We're not trying to steal artwork. Yeah. Would definitely never try to do that.
Right.
It's misunderstanding.
We have tons of artwork that we pay for on our own end. It was just, we thought that we just found something cool.
Yeah.
We thought we'd found it. We've had this since like 2022. Yeah. And we didn't know that it was anyone's artwork. And it's kind of wild that both of our songs got released like months apart.
Like,
and we're both
like a month.
bands.
Yeah.
And it's like, no one noticed it until like almost a year later.
And then we reviewed
and
both.
And then it was reviewed both. I was like some small world stuff, and I was like, hey man, we're getting everything changed. We got everything changed.
Yeah, we noticed that it was the
the new logo is how we did it.
Yeah,
we got everything changed around, and that was kind of like an oops, our bad. And here's everything we don't want to be.
Well, at least you guys didn't
assholes.
use AI art, and no disrespect. Local bands probably with not a big pocketbook, probably I would grant a lot more allowance on that. Like, you're going to use AI art? Well, it's probably because you don't have like
you don't have any money,
a huge income to go buy art.
Right.
So no diss on people using AI art.
I understand them being pissed too, because they paid for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like it definitely was very confusing too, because it was like, I hope that they didn't buy stolen art, which I don't think that was the case at all.
Right.
But I was like, that's what I was thinking, like, whoa, what's going on?
Well, that's kind of
that's happened to us before. Actually, sorry to cut you
No,
off.
you're-
So
no,
what happened
you're
with
good, bud.
Matt was he bought art for his new band that he's in, and found out that the art that he bought, the dude fucking stole from somebody. So he paid somebody for stolen art.
There's
So-
that, or you got the artist selling the same
Double
piece
dipping.
of art to
Right.
multiple people
That's-
and not thinking they're going to find out. It's like that's kind of weird too. So it could have always been that kind of situation where. So I was just kind of wondering. I had to bring it up on the show.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good.
worries.
Well, I paid for the portrait that we used for our last album.
Nice.
That's actually my desktop right here. And I messaged the guy. I said, hey, I saw your policy. There's the artwork just without our logo on it.
That's sweet.
And,
that's sick. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I did too. And I read the guy's bio where he says, I do not do commissions. It's not how I work. He says, however, any of my pieces that are for sale, if you buy them, you have exclusive rights to use them as necessary for your band. So I hit him up in a message and I said, hey, brother, I like this piece of art. I want to use it for my band. I just want to make sure you're still cool with it. That's your policy. He's like, absolutely, man. And he gave me like the rights to it. He just said, you have exclusive rights to this artwork now as your album. Now, I have seen his artwork used by others, and I had to question, like, did they buy it like I did, or did you just straight up download it, lift it, and slap a logo on it?
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm not gonna say, but for me, I feel like if people are out there buying their resources and their materials for their art, you know, maybe give them a holler and say, hey, I really like your art, and I gotta have it for my own.
Yeah.
Now that painting actually hangs in my office in my house, so you know. I had to have it. I was like, ship that mother to me.
But you also paid a pretty decent amount for it.
I paid
so
for
that
it.
makes you question, like,
Right.
you know what you paid for it, but did that other guy that's just releasing a single that stole it or whatever, did he pay that much for it?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if it's just for a single. I wouldn't pay what I paid for that for a single. I paid for that for 16 fucking tracks.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was like, and that's what we were like too. We were like, well, we just found it on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, we found it on the internet, and there's nothing backing it. There's nothing. I was like, oh, we could totally use this for some single art.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it's going to be for our album or anything. It's not like we're going to have anything sold with it. And that's I'm super thankful we didn't make T-shirts.
Yeah,
or,
no.
Yeah,
That's
sell
like
CDs and sell some CDs or some shit with that on there, you know.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, I definitely made sure that I saved that email and everything.
For real, like we said, shout out Living Dissection.
Yeah.
They were good dudes.
Yeah, that's cool. I knew there's nothing malicious, and we're not
no.
even that kind of podcast where we need to we're trying to bring up some weird shit or nothing.
Oh,
But
no.
I just wanted to get to the bottom of it because,
for sure.
you know,
Something
we're
to
sitting
talk
in the
about.
same room, and obviously over text we can't really. Because you run the social media?
He does
we both
Facebook. I do
do.
Instagram.
Okay, so I think you might have hit me up though, and was just like, "Yeah, sorry about that, dude." I'm like, no big deal to me. He was hitting me up.
We just want to make sure that there is no malicious feelings. Or any bad feelings towards.
Yeah,
you never know when you're
two
going to
bands trying to
grounds. You know,
do our thing.
Yeah,
you never know if you're going to be on a show with them. Don't want to be extra.
Yeah,
weird.
well, and that's what I told
shit.
them too. I was like, "Hey guys, I really hope this doesn't ruin any chances of us possibly getting together in the future. Like, I really like your guys' tracks. You know, I really like everything. It's like, and I don't want any bad blood between us.
Yeah.
You know?
There shouldn't be. It's to me and Jay, we look at it as just somewhat comical and also a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And also, end of the day, some pretty sick artwork.
Yeah.
we love it.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Well, it also kind of fits all the other kind of artwork and stuff that you guys use, you know, with the hooded thing.
The hooded figures was like a huge thing, and that's where why we liked it so much. It was like, this is gonna fit perfect.
Keeping the theme.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about production. So the self-titled demo you went to. You said your buddy.
Yeah,
right?
his name's Jeremy Davis.
Okay.
He actually.
And where's he at?
He's in Grand Rapids. He actually plays guitar in a band called Wept.
Okay.
Shout out to them. So he was just I don't remember how we even got in touch with him about doing the demo, but he was just, I think he said something about, we were just discussing about how we wanted to look into just like recording our demo, and he said, well, I can just do it, kind of thing, where he was like, I have a little setup in my house, up in my office, and I kind of want to, because he recorded like demo stuff out for his other band. And so he was like, I can just do it and stuff like that. So that's kind of how that ball really rolled with that. So there wasn't really anything more than just, yeah, man, we'll just do it.
So then what about the one with Torment?
That
was
actually
that a different place?
Yeah.
Or?
So we actually got done by our friend John Barefoot.
Oh no, the one with Torment would be.
Sorry.
We tracked that
it,
in Vinny's basement, and we sent it out, and we got that mixed and mastered by a dude named Jared.
Okay.
Nothing.
So that was kind of a self-produced kind of thing.
Yeah. That was kind of, we just did everything ourselves on that one and just sent it out, got it mixed mastered, came back. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then our newest stuff, so the Reign of Malcontent single, and then the two new promos, or the two new songs that we'll have coming out here, those are all done by John Barefoot at Transient Aggression Sound, sorry. He's done phenomenal work for us. Cool. He does phenomenal work across the board with hardcore bands.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just great guy.
Yeah. He also plays guitar in that band Bitter Truth.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
Very
Guitar and Bitter
familiar.
Truth, and I want to say Guitar and Tunnel of Love.
Tunnel of Love, and he plays in Split Up now too.
Yeah, plays in Split Up too.
okay.
So John's a good dude. Does a great job. Awesome dude to work with.
Does it out of his house then?
Yep.
Okay.
Just down to his basement. You get to
Sweet.
go in there, and it's you get to go to a lot of good food around where he lives too. So I take a break. We take a break, go get lunch, and we go to a Mexican spot down the road.
Nice.
Get some tacos and come back.
yeah.
It's good stuff. So
That's my favorite.
Awesome dude to work with.
Grand Rapids as well. Is he based in GR then?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So this might be a good segue into listening to this new song. It's not called David's Blayne's Pocket Watch or whatever it's called.
Nope.
It's called.
What'd you call it?
No, it's funny you say that because we had Mouthful of Locusts on the show last week. And
Love those guys.
Yeah, fucking awesome. Their band's great. Love Perry and Andrew, and a lot of their titles are like that.
Yeah.
The MySpace
Yeah,
days,
yeah.
like long fucking sentence titles
Yeah.
or whatever. But it fits their band perfectly,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
So, but yeah, you guys want to listen to this new song?
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
do
Cool.
it.
So, what is the song called?
this song's called Occupied Death.
Okay, Occupied Death. So we're gonna check this song out.
Promise you it's not a 5-minute long song.
It's all good,
You're
bro.
gonna love
So-
this. You're gonna love this. It's under 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So we're getting in and getting out. So
We're getting
cool.
a blaster here
all right, let's see if we got it.
from the top.
All right.
And there it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that one, a little bit less formulaic, it sounds like. He just kind of took sections and stacked them on top. I did hear a callback
Oh,
right, from the beginning and then the middle, and then you kind of use the end or the beginning as the end.
Yeah.
But in your fucking face,
Yeah,
goddamn.
that was almost like a grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the direction we're going for too. And it's funny because when you guys did that review with Rain, we're like, you guys made that comment about the 5-minute long song. I was like, wait till our new shit because it's like
90 seconds.
right.
So I was
So
gonna say we have there's Rain, and then the second song off this promo will probably be our longest songs that we have anymore. The second song of the promo is like 5 minutes long.
Okay.
But that's more of like a death metal kind of track. But we're definitely going towards more of like a death grind.
Okay.
Kind of direction. That's kind of how we
Yeah.
felt with it.
Well, that's cool.
And
Yeah,
so-
that's definitely different than any of the other songs that we've
Yeah,
heard
that's-
from you.
Yeah.
So
And it sounded good. It was a little bit of a
Thank you.
surprise having listened to everything last night, and
Yeah.
then now this one was just like
Yeah.
right in my face, and I thought
yeah,
they'll slow it down and bring a bit of a breakdown, and it didn't have the breakdowns that you used before where they were
Yeah.
really slow. That sang was Sugar
Yeah.
Bog, or
Yeah.
just almost droney or doomy, where it was like chung chung chung,
Yeah.
and then this
Yeah.
one was a little bit more, even for a breakdown, kind of upbeat,
Yeah.
because you're grinding that fast, you don't want to slow it down too much and lose momentum. So
yeah.
good job, and thanks for sharing
Thank
the
you,
new one
yeah.
with us. That
Yeah,
was
no
fun.
problem.
That was in your face.
yeah, that was if that's what you're going for, that's what you accomplished. I definitely like that.
Yeah, we're
Cool.
just
That was you guys now. Was that an E-kit?
No.
Okay.
No, it was live.
Live drums?
that was live, yeah.
Yeah, your drummer snare is always just. I even mentioned that on the.
Yeah, we love
thing.
that.
That fucking
Love that.
snare
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
slams
It
through.
pops.
It just.
It's tight. It's tight.
So good for like grind like that because it really stands out and drives the song.
Yeah.
So, what's you guys' practice schedule looks like?
So we try 11 a.m. every Sunday.
Yep.
Okay, so we fucked that up for you.
Yeah, no worries.
No, you're good. It's all good. Yeah, no.
Not out here trying to fuck up practicing. I'm telling you.
We normally just do once a week. We get there, we jam for 3-4 hours.
Yeah,
5 hours, and then go home.
Just make it a day.
That's what it's like. I've got like an hour driving to practice. He's got like an hour driving to practice.
Yeah.
So I normally
try to get it knocked out.
Yeah,
really.
we normally go there. We just kind of focus on what we got to focus on.
So, are you guys preparing for shows? So you're going through a set and then writing, or what is a usual practice?
Yeah, we have with the shows that we have coming up, we'll run through a set first, and then we'll kind of decide whether or not we want to go through any songs that we felt like need to go through again, and then after that we'll go get into writing again.
Okay,
and we'll start writing and we'll check out this riff or check out.
Lately
Vinny's always got drums that he's like, oh, I've been messing around with these. Check this out. And so it's like, all right, cool. And so we'll just start writing from there.
So you might write to his drums sometimes?
Yeah, that's basically how it just goes is him and I like to just throw in random audios at like 10 o'clock at night being like, hey, what do you guys think of this?
There you go. That's
so
cool.
we do a lot with like what Sam was saying, where when we get into practice and stuff like that, a lot of it is we get through the songs that we've already been working on, if not we have written. And then from then towards probably middle to end of the practice, like, all right, let's jam something new. Let's get a feel so we can kind of bookmark things. So be like, well, let's come back to this another day or whatever. Like, so I think that helped us with writing these new songs too, because we would get into these spots where we would be like, shit, we're gonna go from here. Let's bookmark it for right now. Vinny, what do you have for like, stuff like that? So we're able to keep practice very productive.
Yeah.
But also we're able to keep it to where we're not like just burning daylight.
Yeah, make the most out of your time,
right?
Especially since you like married kids, jobs, like that, all stuff. Just kind of gets in the way. So, do you have anything else, Nick? Because I got a few more things here on the docket that I want to talk about, but I just want to make sure. You said you had a few notes. I didn't know if we went over everything that you had.
We talked about Blue Lives Shatter in terms of lyrical content. I also want to just pay you guys this compliment too, that as I was listening to that song, musically speaking, I liked the middle end section where it went almost clean. It was clean on the demo.
Oh yeah.
And then when you redid it, you just went to like basically no clean, but the same, obviously the same part, just a little bit dirty. And I just wanted to say that was one of the parts that did stick out to me. And the reason being is it was very moody. It was it was definitely that minor tonal, like melodic chord that you guys were using in that moment. And going to our boys in Vestigial and what Michael Stellema said, if you're always heavy, you're never heavy. And that part wasn't heavy, but it was moody as fuck. And I liked it. And I wanted to say, I having heard the new song, maybe I don't get any more of that, but that is something that I would say bring that into your writing a little bit more, because it does give impact when you bring that sludge back afterwards. It gives it gives the listener just like a little bit of reprieve. It's still dark. It doesn't do a disservice to your music at all. And it'll give people like, oh my God, my brain can settle down a minute from the grind and the blast, and then you build it back up. So that's one of the compliments I wanted to pay to you guys, is that segment of that song was something that stood out to me, in addition to like your drummer's fucking sick, the guttural vocals forever, like just that low that you guys held out on the part that Jay spoke to earlier, where that vocal just seemed to go on for like a 10-second growl, and I was like, fuck. So there were a lot of good things happening, but that is one of the things that also stood out to me, and I would expect to hear a little bit more of that. Yeah. What you're doing right now, stick with what you love, obviously, always, and because that's going to give you the most satisfaction. Just playing exactly what you feel like you want to play. When I listen to that song right there, I'm like, if there's 5 more of those, I'm expecting only a 10-minute EP, right?
Right. No, that's that one song that we definitely just, that's the fastest song, but also our shortest song. But no, definitely some of the stuff that I've been writing for this new upcoming stuff too. So as we're making this transition to the more like grindier stuff, I'm also a big fan of like sludge and like doom and stuff like that. So one of my favorite bands is Crowbar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then also I like to listen to Sun. That's another big band. So just droney stuff.
Yep.
So I like to listen. Sam and I both listened to a lot of like kind of like weird stuff, like very like noisy stuff too. So we were trying to complement that into it too. So like stuff like Full of Hell.
Okay.
And stuff that's a little bit on like the,
And on the new, like with a lot of the new stuff that we write, it is a lot more 0 to 100 type deal.
Okay.
Where we have some really sludgy, like droney, like bass parts that kind of go on, and like a lot of like slow drums to just like really fast stuff again. And we spend a lot of time doing a lot of that call outs, a lot of those primitive man slow parts, but then also break into like the Full of Hell fast parts, because that's a lot of what we're into, is a lot of the death grind. And so
feel it. It was good. I was digging the song. It happened so fast. I feel like I need to listen to it again.
And that's, I mean, and even our second song that we have is like 5 minutes long, and that's more of like a true death metal song. You know, it's I love that song a lot, and it's got a cool chorus to it, and it calls back to many things. So I mean, we're gonna have that. We'll have that whole thing released by this week here. We don't really have a date involved, but the whole thing will be released here this week. So
cool.
That songs like that are cool too. Like, I mean, like Nick said, if you had 5 of those and you would just have a short, blaster of an EP, and then maybe next time you write stuff that's all slow. But if you got 1 or 2 of those in there, it kind of just sets that song apart, So it's cool that you're talking about not just only playing that, because then you guys would just be a grind band at that point. And you wouldn't really be able to explore some of the other
within the
sounds
set list.
about.
And within the set list, that song leads into a slow song.
Okay.
So it's like set list wise, it is that song, but then that leads into a very, a lengthy intro, slow intro, into another grind song, into a, death metal song.
Yeah, that's cool. That way it kind of counteracts each other. And then there's something you can kind of grasp onto throughout.
Flowing too,
So what are you? We talked a little bit about the shows. I see you do got one with Realm of Shoal, Crocofile, and Necrium coming up. That's a fucking sick show.
Realm of Shoal,
we're excited for that.
Yeah.
I've known those guys in Realm of Shoal since they were all different bands, type deal. I went to high school with Sean, and I've known him for a long time. What a great guitar player. So
yeah, we're actually Iron Sharpens Iron is going to play a show with those guys. I'm not real familiar with them yet. I did ask him to come on the show, but he had some other things he wanted to take care of before he came on the show, so I was like, I understand. But Crocofile, we actually listened to one of their songs, and we missed one of their shows. They asked us to play, but we were playing a different show. Hopefully one day we can get them on the show. The Necrium's coming on the show, and we got some history with Necrium because our band Infinite Design played with them back in the day. But yeah, that's a stacked show.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we're excited.
What other shows do you guys got coming up?
So
that you want to speak on?
Next Friday, we're gonna be playing at the Jolly Llama in Lansing. We're playing with a band from Texas called Cold Case. Sacrifice of Life, it's their first show. And then No Rails.
Yeah.
I've never played with No Rails, but I see those dudes have a lot of shows booked right now.
Yeah.
So those guys are going everywhere, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Try to think. May 11th.
Yep.
The Sugar Bowl in Kalamazoo.
Yep.
We got Nothing to Bleed.
Wept.
Us, and then Stroke of Death.
I guess they're a new hardcore band from Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
That's sick. I like seeing that, especially coming from Kalamazoo. There weren't really any hardcore bands, and it's nice to see that this new wave of kids, finding hardcore, whatever way they are, if it's TikTok, who fucking cares, whatever.
Yeah.
But I just love to see new kids come to shows. They mosh. They pay the respects to bands, stuff like that. Because, when Sam and I coming up and stuff like that too, like, shows were accessible, but they weren't always like available. They always weren't consistent.
Yeah.
So that was the thing too, was especially like trying to start bands and stuff like that too. Like that sucked. I remember having to find guys on Craigslist. Just put in like hardcore band looking for drummer.
Yeah.
And then one of my good buddies, Nick, and I, we used to literally find the funniest of guys, show up. I never forget this one time. I'll make it quick. I was this kid. Mind you, like I said, it was Craigslist, so we had no idea what this kid looked like or, whatever. Showed up. This kid might have been like 13. He showed up with his dad.
Oh,
and we're like, oh, dude, this is kind of weird. These dudes in our 20s. And he was like, he met us, stuff like that. And this kid was like, very, very shy, stuff like that. And then that was kind of like towards the end of that. And then we're just like, dude, there's like nobody in Kalamazoo that'll play music. So
Know that
it's just nice to see that there's kids finding hardcore, punk, death metal, whatever, and being able to come out and play. So it's really cool to see that.
Oh yeah,
it means a lot to me.
So we got a show this week, but I mean this episode probably won't come out for a while. Usually we're about 4 weeks out on our episodes, just so you know, because
cool.
That's just how we film ahead a little bit just to get the material out there.
Yeah.
But you got a show coming up this week. Then you got, what did you say? May 11th? May 11th?
May 11th. Yep.
May 11th.
Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. So this will be out before then for sure. And then what else? What anything else?
We have another show that's in the summer. I can't remember exactly what the date is, but I know we're playing with Pain Divine.
Okay. Cool.
We're playing with Nothing to Bleed, and then there's another. Oh shoot.
Yotuma.
Yo, I actually just saw them the other night in Kalamazoo. They're from Wisconsin. Great, like death metal, like crossover band.
Okay.
We're playing with them too. So we're kind of, as the year goes on, try to like book out a little bit because we've been writing and stuff like that. So we took some. Last show we played was what, like October, or something. So we played with our friends in Dissected and One Body Six Graves. From Indianapolis.
Good dudes.
Yeah, awesome band. So yeah, we just been writing and then getting finding shows on the way, some good shows for us to like play with friends and to test these new songs out too, because that's what we're mostly trying to get our point across with is like, hey, these new songs, how well they transfer to other people.
So when is the show with Necroium and Crocodile and Realm of Shoal? When is
that's
that?
April
27th.
27th.
April 27th. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So we're really excited for that.
April. I'm real excited for that.
Where is that one at?
Turnstiles, Grand Rapids.
yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's not too
First
far
time
from us. So.
us ever playing there. So
it's interesting. There's like this kitchen on this side, and then here's the bands, and then here's the bar. So it's kind of like this weird thing. But yeah, we played there. It was cool.
I've been there. I've been there once
cool,
to see you guys. So I was telling Larry, I was like, hey, I'll come out to Turnstiles and see you guys. So
you seen Iron Sharpens Iron that day?
Yeah,
okay,
that was
cool,
sick.
That
was fun.
Oh yeah.
So
didn't even know. Well, thanks for coming out.
Yeah, yeah. I think you guys played with Mouthful of Locusts, and I can't remember who else, but I remember.
Wait. If you're talking the time they played with Mouthful of Locusts, I wasn't there.
You weren't
I wasn't
there?
in the band.
Oh, what?
It's kind of Larry's project, but I was in the band to like help record a bunch of stuff, and then I joined the band, and then we recorded like 6 songs together, and then I took like a year off from playing out. I was doing some other stuff, and now I'm back in the band writing.
Okay, cool.
We got a bunch of new stuff, so you didn't end up seeing me. Brad probably was playing guitar,
Yeah,
or
'cause I
Larry,
think-
maybe just Larry was playing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think because I know that Larry has had where like obviously he's one of the founding dudes. Of that's his band, but it's like seeing like I'll see Iron Sharp and I'm like, oh, it's different guys, or it's like it's like that's kind of how we were for a minute too, where what I mean, it was with like one time we were a 5-piece and then we were a 4-piece and then we were so
it's always gonna be Larry and Adam.
Yeah, well, hopefully going forward it'll always be a 5-piece because we just wrote a bunch of fucking music and I really like it. So
yeah, shout out to Larry. I love Larry. His bands, me growing up and stuff like that, I've always loved. So I've always
like Time of Plague and stuff. That's how you know Jeremy and Bob because they were in that band and shit too.
It's awesome.
So what about I know you guys got lives and all that. What is touring or something gonna be a thing or small runs?
So
or what are you guys thinking about?
Bounced the idea off about doing a small run with a couple of bands. So we're trying to feel it out as far as how that kind of stuff's gonna work out.
Just a lot of that scheduling. Like you were saying, I got 2 kids.
Yeah.
I got a full-time job, and we all have full-time jobs. We all got life stuff.
Yeah.
I would like to, do something. If we do something, it'd be a small run.
At least like a weekend run or something.
Weekend run. Maybe to Chicago and back.
Yeah, a couple days. So we've, like Sam's saying, like it's just all about the scheduling aspect of it because we got to do this kind of shit, way ahead of time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that makes sense.
If you make the right phone calls, you can get yourself Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, be back to work Monday morning.
It's kind of nice. I only work Tuesday through Friday, so having that Monday off would be not a problem.
Cool. All right, so right before we wrap up, I got like 2 more things for you guys. So what's next for you guys? Just give me I know we kind of talked about a lot of stuff that you guys are doing, but just give me the layout of what's next and like what you guys are doing.
Really recording. We're gonna get back to recording. We just got to keep that grind going.
Stay sharp.
Get through and get these new songs recorded. Get more songs recorded so that after hearing these two, because it's just a promo, it's just two songs. The itch is there.
Yeah.
I'm listening to these two songs. I'm like, man, these two songs sound great. But we need to get back in there and we need to do 6 songs. Like, we need to make sure that we go in there and start banging some stuff out. We have a cover now, and we do all sorts of different stuff. And it's like, it's all about getting into it and doing it now.
Yeah,
so.
We're just trying to, like Sam said, we're just putting in that work, just trying to kind of showcase all these new songs, and kind of what I say is the new chapter of Dawn of Agony too. It's where the lineup, I feel like, is our strongest. I feel like with the 4 of us putting our heads together with these new songs, it's so I love these songs. Probably my favorite songs we have written since the band started. And stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of really it, man. We're just writing, riffing,
recording and merch. We got that coming up. So
there you go.
We'll get I'm very big on. We don't repress the shirts that we have, so we'll never have any of the shirts that we do have. Once we're out of them, we're out of them. I don't do it. We won't be doing like the Dawn of Agony. Won't be doing the Hot and Now shirts again. We have. I'll be doing a small set of logo shirts, and then I want to be doing some shorts here this summer.
Cool.
So probably some T-shirt and some shorts here for the summertime. And
nice.
Oh yeah.
Things felt around for that.
I want to try some patches, so we'll see how that works out.
Patches are coming back in style.
I love
jean jackets and vests.
I love that. I remember in high school going to local shows and having like flannels or whatever and stitching them on. So that stuff's cool.
And for this promo that we're doing, we'll have a cassette tape out for that too.
Oh, nice.
So we'll be doing cassette tapes for that.
Yep.
We just got a lot of stuff planned. So.
Yeah.
What about physical copies of, say you go to record something, that you guys have physical copies of CDs or anything like that?
Actually, no, we don't.
I think it's all about just buying a bunch of blank CDs and getting around and just burning them.
Yeah, they're just giving them out.
So I think
DIY.
I think that'll be a big thing, and we'll do that. It's just all about.
Yeah,
we had to just get through this hump of recording and writing, and once we have 6 new songs wrote, it's like, all right, now let's get into the nitty gritty, let's get into all the small stuff.
Okay,
let's get
so that could be something in the future for Dawn of Agony.
For sure.
Maybe
We're
just physical CDs or something that I can grab from you at a show or something.
Oh yeah,
cool.
We definitely are trying to get some CDs out. Vinyl, I don't think so, but
that's an expensive venture.
Yeah. I don't know.
Especially in you guys' stage where you're a fairly new band and you're building a fan base and all that stuff. So I get that completely. So, all right, man, go ahead and with your final question.
Yeah, this one caps off most of the shows with the interviews. So, Sam, Blayne, why don't you go ahead and each give me a heavy recommendation that you're really high on right now. And then also, if you will, no genre boundaries here on this second part. Something that you like to chill out to. Something that
pull your phone out too.
Yeah. So I'm always interested to know what you guys are listening to besides the bands that you're playing with, or it could be a national act, but you can also name drop anybody that you feel like, as long as they have recorded material that we can hear also, obviously.
I'll definitely say I've been listening to New Job for a Cowboy.
There you go.
Moon Healer. Moon Healer's been on like repeat. Like that's like an open. That's been one that I've been listening through quite a bit, and
I feel like this is the stumper. Every Jay's like,
Psycho Frame is the other band.
Oh, dude, Psycho Frame.
Those guys are fucking sweet.
That band absolutely rips.
Their name is dumb as fuck, but the actual. The actual music is insane, dude.
And it's just punishing.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
Fucking brutal, man.
You said Psycho Frame?
Psycho Frame, yeah. Okay. There's it's like all caps, and there's a dash between Psycho and Frame, and it's stupid. But
my homie Luke, he turned me on to that, and he was like, "Yeah, the name's kind of dumb, like because it kind of sounds like a cover band or something like." Name, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Psycho Frame, but like the actual music is not dumb.
Absolutely rips. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then if I'm chilling, I'm just trying to relax. I'm listening to mostly like MF Doom.
Okay.
I'm listening to just a lot of hip hop. I just do a lot of that.
Okay.
Or I'll throw on like a lot of like lot of like jazz, a lot of like a band called Yusef Kamal. I like him a lot. I like just like a lot of drum break stuff.
Nice.
Just really like smooth stuff. So.
Yeah. It's all welcome here. And those are the sorts of things that ultimately feed your art.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, well, this is what I'm listening to, so I kind of want to come and do that in this room at some point. So those things are definitely allowed. What do you got for us, Blayne?
So there's this band. They put a record out last year. They're called Faytooth, I think is how you pronounce their name. They have this album called Remnants of the Vessel. Sick band. I believe they're like an all chick like doom band. Really good. I'm a big, like I said earlier in the podcast, I love a lot of like doom and sludge and stuff like that. That's been on my repeat a lot lately. And usually when I'm just chilling at home or whatever, I like to just listen to a lot of I'm trying to remember the name of the band now, actually. I've been digging lately. But just a lot of like slower, almost kind of like Randy Newman's a big one I like to listen to a lot of. Sure. Early albums.
Yeah, no
so I like a lot of house music. I love some Marvin Gaye, stuff like that. So it's funny because from what you guys hear about what we play, a lot of it when I'm at home or I'm just chilling with my wife, I'll just throw on, I love Casey Musgraves too.
Yeah, sure. We know Casey in our house. That's cool.
So, just a lot of softer stuff. I like old country. So, so just a lot of soft listening stuff.
Yeah, and I use this moment to remind people that we don't just sit here and bash our heads against the wall listening to grind and
dude, I get
all day. Like,
no way, man.
I like to let people know that we're people too, and we listen to all variety of music, but in our cases, we also listen to extreme metal.
Oh, yeah.
And, we want people to kind of consider listening to our extreme metal just the same as we're going to sit there and listen to pop country if that's what's in if that's in our wheelhouse, if that's our mood in that moment. So we want people to sit there and say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and put on some Dawn of Agony right now. Get fucked.
Yeah, man. Get wild.
All right, cool. Well, with that being said, I want to say I appreciate you guys coming all the
thank
way
you guys
out
for
here
having
on
us.
the
No problem,
fucking show.
I love your guys' podcast. I listen to them at work all the time.
Oh,
so
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Any support to our podcast, we fucking really hold that on the highest regard because we appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
Trying to do something for the scene, trying to do something for extreme metal.
We definitely need it for sure.
Thank you.
So, and then hopefully I'll catch you guys at a show soon. Maybe
yeah,
jam with you guys soon.
That'd be great.
All right, we love it. Yeah, we love the shit on stage, yo.
So, thank you guys so much, Blayne and Sam.
Boys.
Appreciate the fucking
Thanks,
trip
fellas.
out here.
Dawn
And,
of Agony.
Come out.
much love. Keep it metal.
Peace.
Thank you so much for checking out the episode. Be sure to hit that like button and give us a share.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed our podcast today, please give it a rating on your streaming service to help us gain some exposure.
And if you really enjoyed the show, please give us a follow or hit that subscribe button and come hang out with us every week. And remember, keep it metal.